the final shape is no longer looming because it's here. We've played it. The shapes have been conquered. No more shapes. It's over. There's no. The universe has been ridden of shapes. We're free. Finally, we can
look. Let me tell you. After the weekend I've had, I have thought a lot about shapes.
Yeah, it turns out they really wanted to hammer it home here in Destiny 2: The Final Shape that the shapes have been made final.
Yeah.
Because we've played through it all. We've completed Legendary campaign, done a bunch of the post campaign. Some of us have gone into the raid and attempted the raid, and then just did not have time. And then one of us also has completed it, but has also spent an absurd amount of time in the raid. In a single weekend. But hey, all the power to you. I'm glad you have. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about because we have everything Final Shape. Consider this our Final Shape spoiler cast, I guess you could call it.
Spoilers.
We're gonna be talking about everything. You know, it's been like a week since, like, by the time this episode comes out, it'll be like a little over a week since the expansion came out, and we've played all of it and messed around with everything in it. So yeah, just a lot of stuff to talk about just with the expansion alone. We did, just the day recording this, we did get some news about the future of Destiny. So like, I think, you know,
some news is correct. There wasn't a whole lot, but
some news, yeah, for sure, because it was a lot of like kind of explaining what the episodes are and then being like, yeah, we're surprised, we're gonna keep making more stuff for it. Wow, no way.
Yeah, we're gonna continue making money.
Yeah. So we'll get into all that, but yeah, let's talk Final Shape, baby. I should mention I am Mike Burgess. Hello. Ari O'Neill, Cam Koenig.
Hi.
We're here.
Hi, hello. They made a second one, etc. I'm really tired.
etc.
Yeah. Just don't worry about it. Keep going.
Yeah, exactly. It's episode 45. What it do by
you
now.
Get it.
Final Shape. A lot of sentiment has been this week, and man, they probably made the best expansion they've probably made, period, for this
I think it's the best one.
It's I think I was thinking I think because of, we obviously had the initial launch day kind of woes of server stuff, which happens. It's definitely a little bit rougher than I think previous ones have been in quite some time. For sure, considering we have had a 16-hour launch day stream attempting to try and play some, and I've been trying to get that archived, but boy, that's been fun. We'll have to edit. I'm tried editing it and then tried exporting it through Premiere, and Premiere was like, nah, dog, this is like an 8-hour video. What are you doing? And I'm just like, sorry.
Sorry.
So I figured out a way to get it on the back end of YouTube. So I'm going to try and edit it on YouTube's back end some way. We'll figure it out. So that hopefully might go up like around when this goes up. So you can see me, Ari, and Ren playing through that legendary campaign, and hopefully
I'm not putting mine anywhere. Sorry.
Yeah,
I just don't want to. It's just a lot of effort. So
yeah, it's totally fair. But yeah, we did that launch day stream, and even though there was a lot of madness waiting in servers, a lot of Subway Surfers enjoyers out there. A lot of fun stuff there. So
on my stream, while I was just like waiting in queues, I just I have my Switch and my capture card. I just on the left side of my screen just started playing Balatro. Just chilling. It was fine. I was vibing,
Yeah, it's just
we're like Subway servers,
Damn.
God,
I'm going to bed after this.
Yeah,
big mood. But yeah, once we finally got in, we started playing. And if I've been enamored in a way with like Destiny that I have not felt in some time. Granted, like not to say like I was not I guess I'm trying to blank on the word, but just like kind of down or dissociated with Destiny, like I think a lot of people were prior to like the Into Light stuff more so. But I think it was just like seeing them at being able to like clearly make something that like make a Destiny thing that they were like true, like you could tell like their heart, all the heart was like put into every like aspect of it. From
this was very clearly like them from a development side of things firing on all cylinders. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, for sure. And like I get like there will probably be a day. Give us like, give it like, a few weeks.
3 weeks.
We'll give it like we're in July and we're gonna be sitting here being like, what are they doing with this thing? And this is what is this kind of like, what are they doing? Like, and you have your angry Reddit post, whatever.
About
like,
halfway through Revenant is probably whenever people are gonna be like, oh man, this game fucking sucks. It's a dead game. Like a couple content creators would be like, I'm not gonna cover Destiny anymore because I just think it's fucking terrible, and here's why. And then they're inevitably back in like 6 weeks.
Yep.
There's I think Robbie Ismail posts it like all the time, but he has like straight up a flowchart that he just posts every few months saying we're at this point in the Destiny cycle.
Yeah, the Destiny cycle.
We're so back, we're so over, but with fucking like 12 extra steps, and they're all very specific in a way that is absolutely correct.
Yeah. I think like definitely there is like a level of like, I think the quality of the expansions we get definitely makes the tail end to hit that mark like shorter and longer, right? Because we clearly saw it with like Lightfall last year, where like we were pretty quickly into the death throes of Destiny, and when that thing came out, we're like, this one, it's like I feel like, man, I'm just excited for everything that they're going to be doing here after this. And like,
I think that from a very like broad strokes point of view, they kind of stuck every landing that they needed to. And I think that they stuck a few that people didn't kind of anticipate. Down to like, I don't think, which I'm sure we'll get to it, I don't know what order we're going to be talking about this in, but I do not think anybody anticipated this raid to be as hard as it is.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that like people largely are seeing that as like a very, very good thing. It's really fun and exciting to feel kind of challenged again by a raid,
Yeah. 100.
A new raid rather.
A new raid. Yeah.
Yeah. I pulled up my raid report because I didn't keep track of how long we were in the raid. And then because raid report like shows you cumulative time that you've spent in a raid. And I shouldn't have looked. So I spent this weekend, starting Friday at noon until literally like last night at like fucking 8 p.m. 1 day and 11 hours in that fucking raid. That is the exact amount of time that I have spent in Root of Nightmares total. I have that title. That's crazy to think about.
That's pretty nuts.
And we did everything like no guides. We like figured everything out, which is like something that I fucking loved. I adored it. But like, I know they changed the power of like how raids work with the final shape. Now all of them are -5, but fire team power is enabled and there's surges on each raid for normal mode now. But man, it still kind of kicks your ass a little bit.
Yeah, I like the surges. I think were definitely like I definitely saw people like kind of complaining about that already, and like now having like
played
playing those first two encounters, it felt like it did not matter that those two things were there. In some way, shape, or form. Like I mean, I definitely noticed like the damage bump, but like it did not remove the challenge that you needed because of how that raid works. We can definitely get more into that. But yeah, I wouldn't let's just start with like the campaign and that kind of stuff and go through some of that stuff. Cause like, they, like you said, they fired on all cylinders, like every piece of this, like they really just did a fantastic and incredible job with like the whole campaign through and through is really good. I can't even think of like a down moment throughout that all those campaign missions and any of the scenes and story stuff. Like it's all like really well done.
Yeah, and I thought, are we like just? I'm assuming spoiler warning.
We said at the top spoilers. We can just go. We're just gonna talk about everything here.
Fucking like I was like kind of down on that mission where it's like, oh, you're just doing Lost Sectors now, and it's like 3 parts. But I'm like, well, this is like kind of whatever. And then the one where it's like, oh, hey, by the way, here's Luzaku, and I'm like, oh, I'm way back up now. This is great. This is fucking awesome.
This is cool.
Like, what the fuck? So like they even found a way to make stuff that I think wasn't as like engaging or necessarily exciting to be like super interesting and engaging.
Yeah, for sure. And then like just like having, and I feel like the thing I definitely was like expecting really hard in this one was like the nostalgia baiting, and like I was fearful of like them leaning too hard into that. Yeah. And like they actually, I think, did a really good job with it. I was kind of impressed that like I can sit here and think of like, wow, they showed that like classic like you getting woken up in the Cosmodrome thing, like I don't know, like 3 or 4 times in that campaign, I think, and they all worked. Like it wasn't like I didn't feel like it was like this is too much. It was like we got it at the very top with like one of the cutscenes, and then when you get one of the new light supers, you get it during that moment, and like that was all done really great, and it was like it was just like like fun, cool experience to kind of like bring. Although again, like there's like there's always the thing with Destiny now, like going that like they're capable of, because now it's been going for so long, and to make these like big parallel moments. So having this moment where you're like literally where you start from at the start of the campaign, and then you get to that moment, and you came full circle into like you were getting back to that moment, and you see the end with the big pillar for the Witness first time, and getting this new power to take them on. Like it was just like that was like those moments like that like worked all the time. And it was
really
awesome.
Expected. I don't want to say expected, because it feels like I didn't have like faith in like the narrative team or the writing.
Right.
But I don't know. I didn't have as much of an exposure to Cayde in Destiny 1. And I got a lot of Cayde Destiny 2, which starting off was rough. Because a lot of the like early D2 Cayde stuff was
not very good.
It was pretty bad. And I was like really, really grateful that they went with like, oh no, this is Cayde. It's not like the weird fucking Flanderization of Cayde that we had at the start of Destiny 2.
Right. Like we had to make him literally just like a quip guy and could have no other character depth at all.
Yeah.
Like that was like a lot of him very early in D2, and even like the moments in Forsaken where it's like he just like that would maybe it's a hot take way back in the day, but like a lot of that early like Forsaken stuff where like we're getting revenge on Cayde like didn't really work on me at that time.
Sure. Because
like I didn't have that attachment to D1. And like all I had was the moments in D2 Cayde where he just like makes like these really like
I just keep thinking that fucking
just like
god awful puppies commercial. Jesus Christ.
And
man.
like the really like very cringe, like one of like the first Destiny 2 reveals is like because I went back and watched a bunch of old Destiny 2 trailers like going into Final Shape just to like get into that vibe of like building to it, and there was like a really early one that is just like really bad because it's just him going like we're getting a ton of loot, and it's just like, oh, this is so cringy, man. I can't believe this is like people were like Cayde with this. Like I was like, man, he sucks in this trailer. But like like in this campaign though, like I think they did a really better job of like balancing that, of like he definitely has his dumb like quirky lines, like when he's spoilers for like the final thing where he's just like,
I know exactly what you're about to say.
He's like, you make sure you show him this shape ain't final, or he says something like that.
Okay, all right,
it's just like, sure, okay, that's.
I mean,
fine.
I think they had done so well up to that point. I'm like, you get one,
exactly,
and that's a good use of it.
It's like, exactly,
that's fine.
It evens itself out because like every time you get like one of those, you have like a really good like monologue from him and like Nathan Fillion
all
playing
of the wild card
that
mission,
playing like, that the fuck up, and you're just like, man, hell yeah, okay,
talking about grief and sorrow and letting go.
You get the like scene right after the final mission with Cayde. Like, it's good shit.
100%. Yeah.
It's very Taken King Cayde, I would say, which is good Cayde.
Good.
But there's just a lot of moments like that across like the story campaign. I think having like Ikora and Zavala be way more centered or this, and then like having the like these clearly like a lot of like tension that they've had since the death of Cayde and Forsaken, that like was just clearly like kind of put under because they're the fucking Vanguard, and they have to like deal with all this other bullshit going on all the time. and like it finally kind of bubbling up to the surface in this moment, and like, you know, Ikora being afraid of like losing stuff, and like Zavala dealing with like his own grief being like brought back up because of like Haunted, and us learning about all that stuff, and then like it all kind of coming ahead at the same time at this was like, yeah, just all really well done, like having these characters be kind of the core. And like, you know, I think they did a good job of like, you know, I think we talked about it like right before with predictions of like it seemed like it was gonna, like, I thought it was gonna be some kind of more send off or like to them, but like how they set them up to like be in the future like is like totally cool too, because it like put them kind of in a new light, so to speak.
Getting into like the story stuff with Zavala a little bit more, like I really liked how, I'm trying to think of like the right words here. I really liked that the darkness statues that were reaching out to Zavala were genuine, like with their wanting to help, and it wasn't just a like, oh, they're also trying to like tempt him to the darkness and like ruin him and stuff like that. Like I really liked that. If you take a look at like that, like that as a whole, like it's very much like, it's just like showing how like people around you react to like people expressing grief in a way that I think was really, really interesting. I like, not even just with like the Zavala's family stuff being like brought up again by the witness, but like the stuff with like Tarj being like pretty fresh. Like after that, like you could like tell that shit like shook him to his core, but it was like really, really nice to see that it wasn't just like I was worried that it was going to be like, I would have felt like if we ended up like fighting Zavala at some point, that would have just felt so fucking lazy and just like ruining his character a little bit, in my opinion. I'm really happy that like it turned out to be that like people don't believe him because he is going through it, but he is actually 100% correct, or at least like 80% correct, right? Because like he was also like blinded a little bit, but I really, really, really liked how Zavala was portrayed in this, and like Keith David did an incredible job. I think we kind of knew that he was always going to, because he's fucking Keith David, but it a little bit earlier on in the campaign, it felt like it was a different character to me because I wasn't used to the voice yet. But like after I got used to it, I'm like, that's just fucking Zavala. Like he's doing a great job.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There's also that was kind of out of Bungie's control at that point. So
totally.
You know,
totally. I think it's definitely the best out of like the unfortunate situation that happened with this.
I don't think anybody else could have done it as well.
And much better than throwing away his character arc, right? Like,
yeah, totally.
He's been so central to the story of this game since the beginning, since Destiny 2, at least, especially. And seeing him like work through it. And I really liked with Zavala that he goes to that dark place and he comes back from it, right? Like we see that, like, I'm going to take the risk now. I'm going to do what you did during the Witch Queen Ikora and be pissed about it and push my limits, and it costs him, and he like learns from that, right? It's not just, you know, going to the dark side and not redeeming. It's like a journey as opposed to like an arc, you know what I mean?
And I think it's going to be really interesting going forward, seeing a brand new kind of character arc for him as like, you know, somebody who was previously like the closest thing the Vanguard had to like a traveler devout, I guess. Now being like lightless, using the darkness, but like still being the head of the forces of Guardians, which I think is super interesting. So I'm really excited to see where that stuff goes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Like I'm super curious, like what they're gonna do with his character and like and the Vanguard in general, because we know now, like, you know, another big character that was a part of this that obviously was being built up, you know, through a lot of seasonal content was Crow, but now like this is really his first portrayal, like fully being a major player in this expansion. So like I think, you know, I was really impressed of how they had like a buddy cop almost dynamic with like Crow and Cade through this whole expansion. It just worked super well, you know, like them just kind of being kind of immediately good. Like it wasn't like a, we got the scene, we got the scene right before Final Shape drop. So of course that kind of really set the tone of their dynamic in some ways.
I forget what it's
really
on.
build it.
I forget what it's on. It might be on one of the Paleheart guns or something, but there is a lore tab that is like basically going over like the first night after that cutscene, which I thought was like really interesting because it is like straight up like Cade just having intrusive thoughts and like having to bat them down of being like, it would be so fucking easy to just like take this dude and his ghost out right now. I could totally fucking do it. And like it like talks himself down in a way that is like really interesting and mature. And it's a really good read. I don't remember what it's on, but if you find it, you should check it out.
Yeah, I've not looked too much into like that lore specifically, but because I've just been waiting for those Bife videos because I know Bife's gonna have a lot of good insight on that stuff.
We're gonna be eating good for a while.
We're eating good. I really like that stuff. I think it was really handled well, and like
part of the story stuff.
Yeah, and I like that like a lot of his stuff was also upfront about it because like the whole mystery of how Cade returned, like they were pretty upfront about like this I think I wished you back because of this wish magic. With Riven, and then it was just like, oh shit, we're not telling anybody this. At all. Good
on them for not for being like, no, this stays here. They will never find out.
But also like that scene that's the 4th campaign mission when you're like on the cliffside and Crow tells that to Cade, like that's such a lore tab scene in particular, and I love that is like present. It's front and center. Everybody sees it. Everybody hears it. It just, and I feel like there's that level of focus with every scene in this campaign, and I really, really appreciate that because there are a lot of times where I was like, man, I love this scene in this tab, but like, boy, I would have loved to seen it in game. And it was so nice to like feel that.
Yeah, totally agreed there. It was just like, I think they really need to have like those moments more when they can, because it really when it works, because it like having that context is big and like kind of sets a tone for the whole thing. But a ton of good moments, and then like of course like a lot of the obviously the other part of all the gameplay, like the mission stuff and actually playing through it.
Mission design in Destiny.
Like obviously we've seen it in all the trailers and stuff leading up to it, but like this is easily like visually and like design of how you traverse this like destination is probably the coolest ones they've done. Like, I'm sure there'll probably be, with doing any Destiny stuff where you have to do things over and over again, and it'll probably, send you back to do, I'll probably still have to do some kind of quests, or we'll start, once we get to week 2, we're going to learn about how we get these exotic class items. And I'm sure we're going to have to do something over and over and over again. And there'll be a day when I'm just like, oh, I just want the thing, but it's fine. But like, regardless of that, as like, just like this experience going through campaign and now, and also just like exploring it. Cause I always like, when we do get expansions and they have like, the weird little collectible style things and like little puzzles to do, like all that stuff they like nailed. And it's like some of the coolest, most fun stuff they've done. And like, I like the, again, like starting in that, like when you first get in there, like it's more like the lush forest, and it's like also, but it's also like melded into like the actual city area. I just think that was really cool. I've always kind of wanted that kind of area, right, where you're like jumping on top of buildings and going through this areas and stuff. And I think like that little area and section is super cool. And then obviously as you get later in and you get to like the dark areas, and it's just like the most insane architecture, like body horror tier shit ever. That like just
the
is,
like
so
faces,
cool.
Incredible.
The
shit.
faces,
oh my god,
the hands everywhere coming out of like different shit, and it's like it's just all like so cool, and just,
I was so impressed, and I also really loved the like middle areas, I think the most of all, because it really didn't feel like you're like walking out of an area and suddenly it's like darkness architecture and shit everywhere. It was like very gradual in a way that I thought was really, really smart and fun. like how it was like leading from, you know, the like, because like pretty much the middle point off to the darkness is like where you were quote born in the Traveler, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
And I thought that it kind of handled that in a really, really interesting way. Yeah, man, it was like some of the most fun I had just like looking around because
looking at the ceiling,
just like constantly surprising me with just the weirdest shit.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, constantly, and just like finding little things that are like while you're like doing the campaign and being like, what the heck is this? Like, what is this even like a thing? This is a thing I'm even interacting with, and then like discovering like, oh, it is actually a thing that I'm messing around with after you finish the campaign and you go back on the destination, and it kind of like they said, it opens up, and you know you get like the overthrow activity, which is like, you know, I want this kind of activity on like all kinds of destinations, or like more
it's great.
Or like, you know, at least like a variance of like that kind of idea, kind of put onto new destinations where it's like, oh, I'm in here and like there's this interesting, like there's just a bunch of enemies around, and then that's accounting towards something, or just doing general destinations of like grabbing chests,
no time limit,
which I'm already there's no time limit. I'm already doing that stuff anyway, so like, and it's just all collectively feeding this one thing. But also there's just like weird ass like, oh, there's like a big hive totem in the sky, I can go over to it, and then I see there's like some kind of weird activity where there's like big massive hive symbols in the sky, and you can try and figure it out, or there's like other weird little puzzles that go into it.
I also really like that the ones that are specific for, hey, if you do this one, you get the exotic sword, has the possibility to just be match made, so you can just get it done as soon as possible. Just like get your drops and get out if you want to. I think that's great.
Yes. Yeah, it is really nice too. I like that a lot as well. But yeah, I like ton of little secret collectible things, and like like I didn't even realize there was like tiny baby travelers you could find, and I just kind of I just kind of found one, and then I like found one and like started, and then I found like you go back to where you go to start one of like, I think it's like the second mission, and you can I can place this here, and all of these little tower statues give you like clues to where they are, and I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, I straight up didn't see one of those until Thursday.
Yeah,
so,
pretty much. Like I posted that, and whenever it was in our clan chat, or like we have like a little spoiler chat now, I like posted an image in there. I was just like, what the fuck is this? And like I was just like leaping around. I was looking for
from it. That's so good.
Yeah, and you get like little audio clips from each one, and they're really good. And then yeah, of course, the other big post campaign thing we should definitely talk about is Micah 10 and her ghost missions.
Love Micah 10.
Yeah,
great,
awesome character. She's so cool. Really well done, and like the ghost stuff in general is like just like such cool stories and moments, and like it still intertwines with the other characters in a way, and like she made sense when she came to the moment, because I know there was a lot of people that's like, wait, who's this person? And when you have that cutscene, and there's just like, I found an interesting guardian, and you're just like, oh, sure, okay.
It's like, I don't. Okay, great.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure they're important.
She's rad as hell, dude.
Yeah.
Turns out she's rad as hell.
Yeah, it turns out she's rad as hell, and like she had been set up in lore before. Shout out to Mylan Games, who I didn't know this before, but she was in lore in Beyond Light.
Europa.
Yes.
Yeah, so like there was like
she's also the one who owned the penguins, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's her. Yeah. She's like her lore is like when you go around collecting those penguins.
Yep.
It's her lore about her. Like she was one of the kids who was on Europa and was like turned into an exo, and those horrible exo experiments that Clovis was doing. She met like Cade 6 before he was a guardian, and like they have like this moment where I think like her, or I forget exactly, but I think she like almost kills Micah or kills somebody in that moment. Because it was Cade, because he was like being experimented on and turning into like an exo as well, and then he like goes crazy in one of these moments. But like he was like a bodyguard for Maya when he was like not a guardian too. So there's like a lot of really cool stuff in there, and you learn more about her through that stuff as well. Really cool.
I really like a lot of the Lost Ghost quests that Micah has. It's wild how it made me want to run a nightmare hunt because I wanted to hear what the dialogue changes were.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I was
totally.
like that invested in those. After I finished the first one, I'm like, I'm doing all of these like right now.
Yeah.
Again,
yeah.
like this was stuff when Taken King came out, right? To give an example for you
Mhm.
guys, they went back and added Taken enemies into all the strikes in Destiny 1, which there
Mhm.
weren't as many at the time.
Sure.
And it had new dialogue and new enemies.
Great.
And it felt like the narrative was being pushed forward. And that's where you get a lot of like Zavala commenting on stuff and Ikora and Cade commenting on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this very much like felt like an echo of that. And yeah, it was cool to have.
Echo.
Yeah, see what I did there? It was cool just to have Cade on strike dialogue again, like new Cade or returned Cade,
Mhm.
and just get like a little bit of that again. It really like, as someone who's been playing for a while, it really just scratched like an itch I didn't even know I needed scratched. Right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is like sort of related, but I don't want to spend too much time onto it because I'm like lightly embarrassed by it. But I played a couple of matches of Gambit today because I was trying to complete a Pathfinder to see how I felt about it. The ritual one, but
Yeah, same.
did you know the Shadow
Destination one is
the
great,
fucking the Shadow Legion is in Gambit now?
Yeah.
Remember
I didn't know that.
in the state of the game that we
Yeah.
referenced?
Yeah.
The week
I remember
before
they
that,
mentioned it, but like I don't.
They
I
said
didn't
it.
see that
They
written
said it.
down
Lucen
anywhere.
Hive
They
and
said it,
Shadow
but they
Legion,
like straight up
baby.
just didn't even like mention it.
I don't think
that
it was in
this
a
update.
patch note. Yeah.
It wasn't.
Nope.
It wasn't in anything.
Oh.
They like literally did not mention anything about
Because
Gambit, which is
one
kind
But
of
they
the
delivered on their promise.
even
one of the
even they
first-
forgot that like they did something to Gambit.
One of the first things I do in like every
City
like
map
patch
also.
note or TWID is just Control F Gambit just to see, you know,
Yeah.
and nothing. So like
Nothing.
I was just like doing that, and then the fucking Drifter said Shadow Legion on the field. I'm like, what the fuck? Am I being punked? I didn't get to see a whole lot of them because the other team was, it looked like to be a bunch of gilded dredgens that were 4-stacking. And so we lost before we hit 40.
That sounds
So,
right.
you know, it's
The
Holy
Gambit sickos are
shit.
pleased.
I got my fucking Pathfinder done. That's all I fucking care about. Do I
Yeah.
think do I care
Also-
about my fucking Gambit win percentage? Absolutely
There's
not.
also
No.
Lucen Hive in there now as well,
Okay,
and the
cool.
Dreaming City map as well. So
I knew
those
the
are
Dreaming
your-
City map was
Oh,
back
okay.
because I like saw
Yeah.
somebody that, which like I feel like they should have done that a while
Sure.
ago. but
Hey,
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Kind of liked
Could've-
that map. I'll say it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Not the Tangled Shore one, that's for sure.
Yeah,
that
Tinker
one
Sure
stay
one was
dead.
kind of whatever.
Yeah, that was Anyway,
But that's all fine and good. I think I ended up having to do that as well for when I briefly tried Ritual Pathfinder and it was like, okay, this is fine. And then I hit a roadblock where it's like, oh, I have to do Gambit or PvP. Well, maybe this is not so fine.
I did
and then,
see
and I just I
the-
moved on. It's fine.
I did see that apparently, which will probably get fucking patched, but like the way to do the Crucible one is you can just do all that shit in a private match.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, sure.
So, you know, do with
Yeah.
that what you will.
Some of it's
Yeah.
like a lot. Like 50
Yeah.
Gambit sniper rifle kills is
Yeah.
fucked up, dude.
Yeah, it's a
Yep.
lot. And like,
who's doing that?
yeah,
I did that one today because I think it was like only 20, but that's still a lot because
still
you
a
also
lot.
only spawn in with 5 shots.
yeah. I guess like the thing I guess not to get on a tangent already about something, but like I think my fear with that kind of stuff is that like I see what they're trying to do, and I think they mentioned it in like a TWA we read before Final Shape came out. It's like we want to challenge players to do new things in the
Yes.
game or whatever, and it's like, yeah, that's a way to put it. When more,
Yeah.
but it doesn't feel that way. It feels more like you're forcing players to do a thing that they didn't have. We've not had to do for like years, like multiple years. Because like when did they make the change that you could just do any playlist activity? Was that
That was,
Lightfall
like,
or was it
Lightfall.
before? It might have been
That was
before
Lightfall
Lightfall.
era.
It was around
Lightfall,
there.
I think. Yeah.
So like we've had like a full year.
I think it was deep actually. Yeah.
Yeah. But like even then, like we've had like a full year then plus to just be able to play whatever activity we wanted to like progress that stuff and get the things we want done. So like to kind of regress that a little bit, like just doesn't feel really great. And then I feel like I feel fear for the scenario where like you're forcing players to do these little things that they don't want to do. When it's like some of it's like super minor, like some of it is like not a lot, but because it's so minor, that's like I'm gonna load in this PvP match, get my like Titan kill or get my melee kill or whatever the fuck, and then I'm gonna fucking leave. So I can just get this done, and then I think that's gonna happen. Start happening
a little bit, yeah.
So I definitely think they should. I thought they also said you could reset it to like get new things, but I did not see a way to do that yet. So maybe it comes later.
So like, it's only once you complete a path.
Okay,
complete a Pathfinder.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, I thought they said you could reset it before then, so that way you could like refresh it for new things.
I don't think so. But I also could be
wrong.
wrong.
Yeah, I could be wrong too. I don't remember exactly what they said. So anyway, like I think that would be something that they got to tweak.
The thing that gets adjusted first. I'm like fucking guarantee it, dude.
But
I think that's the thing that I have heard the most criticism about.
Yeah,
I don't think any of it's been like bad, like faith criticism. It's just been like, hey, this kind of sucks a little bit. And like, I know it's the first pass and it's something, and they were like, hey, we're trying this, like, bear with us. Like, that's fine. I get that. But, feedback's important. Just don't be a dick about it.
Exactly. And and I would say on the other end, for the destination, the Pale Heart variant of it, it is very fun. I actually do like it on that.
Yeah.
Because it is like a lot of stuff you're just kind of already actively doing, or it like leads you to interesting things, right? Where you'll see one and it'll be like, oh, go take down this like named enemy, the light cleaver or whatever the fuck. Like in the Pale Heart
on the map,
and it'll show you like little Pathfinder like thing icons on the map, and it's like, yeah, okay, cool, I'll go do that because it sounds like I could go fight like a little neat boss or whatever. Yeah. Like
I think honestly, like once we get past the point of like, oh, this is like a new and exciting place to explore, it's like, oh, we're just going back to the fucking Pale Heart to just run some fucking Pathfinder shit or whatever. Sure. I still think I will like it more than the current state of the Ritual one.
Yeah.
And I think it's entirely because I don't have to go somewhere else.
And it's
all in one spot.
Oh yeah. For sure.
There's more variety. I mean, it checks all the boxes.
For sure.
You can see it was built for this. And then they're like, we should do this over here as well.
I will say, kind of in defense of the like Pathfinder system as a whole, and this is like true of both the destination and the Ritual one, I did like being able to see like, okay, well, I've already finished this one down the line, so like which ones of like being able to like do the thing that they like very clearly set out to do of, oh, well, you're like kind of charting your own way through this like way to get your reward as like, okay, well, I've already started this. And so like, if I do this, like that is still like tingling my brain in a way that is like really good.
But more than that, just like having all the objectives active at the same time, right?
Yeah,
like I don't have to go back to orbit,
passively do,
get more bounties, and it's
I don't have to okay, hang on, let me go to orbit, pull out my fucking phone,
to pull bounties, or like, oh, I'm gonna go on a destination, let me pull out my ghost and find like the weird little patrol icons that are like, what is this one again? I guess this one's the easier one, right? Where I can just like walk around and go to like a point. Or is that like the one where I gotta kill shit and like remember they did like legendary patrols one time and that was just like why like they didn't put anything interesting behind them. So like I think this is like the better idea.
I do like it quite a bit
for that stuff compared
to
that like,
combined with Overthrow feels like really rewarding in a way that you're rewarded for. Oh, I found a chest. Cool. Here's 25 points. Like, oh, I found a fucking like destination material. Awesome. Here's some experience and 25 points. Great. Awesome. Yep. Like I think that's great.
Like, the synergy of the Pale Heart, everything there, just like I'm going here to do this mystery that I got that is like a memory that is going to open a prismatic chest to get me a fragment. This new subclass. And like along the way, I'm doing Overthrow because I'm in this area and I'm kind of the next area and I do 2 Pathfinder objectives. Like there's so much like fluidity to following your objective that feels so natural and doesn't take you out of the game. I think like they clearly had like a design idea for how they wanted it to feel and they like crushed it in a way that makes other destinations feel really bad.
I was already kind of like all right on Neomuna and now I'm like I don't ever really want to go there again. Honestly.
For sure, and like, to be fair, like I don't even know if they put Pathfinder on that destination. I would want to go back either. frankly, but like
I would at least check it out, but I would
Yeah.
never. I wouldn't like go
Or, like-
in on it.
If they put Pathfinder and stuff like change the public event to be more like Overthrow, like did all of the work to it, but it's like why would you do that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like all that stuff, and then like the other thing were like the on the destination were like the system missions, like the kind of like hidden missions. You gotta like end up going find like those kind of
ascended challenges is like
they're kind of like ascended challenges, and like you kind of get those through like ghost quest and stuff through Micah as well, like unlocking those. And those are pretty neat too. Like there's some that are like actually
the moths one
pretty
though.
tough.
Fuck
The moth one.
Oh my
is
God.
definitely the worst one by far.
Like
for sure. Like
I'm happy it exists. I hate it.
Yeah,
I think that was absolutely the point, and they nailed it.
It's a pretty
this
trolly.
was absolutely
It's
the
pretty
developers
trolly.
being like, "What is the worst thing we can do to them?" Because it'd be very funny. They knocked it out of the fucking park.
You go into those and it's like, all right, you're -10 now. It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
All the moths come up.
And all the mosses immediately explode, and then you're like, well, I won't fall for this again. Let me just like plink them all down, and then go to the plate, and then they just spawn them
More
anyway.
rooms later.
And then they just
Yeah.
keep spawning them anyway, even though you kill all the moss in the area. And it's like, what the fuck? Okay, well, yeah, I'm fucked, I guess. And then that's the one, because I don't know if y'all have looked at the triumphs needed for getting the title for the Pale Heart at all. But one of them,
the assist one might be kind of brutal.
Yeah, so one of them is you have to complete all of the assist challenges in under 4 minutes. So each of them in under 4 minutes. So that's definitely one that's like, hey, who wants to squat up and try this?
I can see the life just draining from Ari's eyes right now.
Because like I was able to do two of them by myself under 4 minutes, and that was like the searing light one, the one where it's like you got to go around and kill the guardians to like
that one's not too bad.
That one's not
the one
too
where it's just
bad.
like the solar energy everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And like you can set it up in a way that's like, because you can kind of like go around and kill all the guardians, which puts like the orbs up, and then do damage, like basically throw one, break a shield, do damage, run back over, get another ball, and like so it's like pretty easy to set that up for that one, and I did that. The other one. Which one was the other one I did? I think it was this, what was it called? It's called like Slayer. I think it's like kind of similar, where you just have to like go around and like kill like a bunch of specific things. Or I think that's the one with the guardians, and then the light one is with crystals you got to shoot or something.
Yes.
It's something like that. I understand there's like big ogres in them you got to kill. But some of the other ones,
like 6 in under 4 minutes, apparently, which is very exciting.
I don't think I've done any of them in under 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
but I think like what maybe we're trying is like you can like group up and do those, because I remember we did the sword one inadvertently together on one of your streams, Ken. I remembered that. I was like, oh yeah, we did the sword one together. So like grouping up and probably like just running through them all is probably the strat.
I think that's definitely the play, especially for the ones that are like a little bit more combat focused. You can just like burn shit down and just get out of there. Like that's exactly, that's fine.
That definitely seems like the thing to do. Again, the like a lot of the other triumphs are like get the collectibles, which is like some of my favorite shit to do when they put that stuff in for destinations, is like do all the little puzzles. Like I loved they're called paranormal activities. So like if you do like
the shapes,
with the shapes. So like I went and already got all of those, and that gives you like
I need to go back and probably do all of those, but
because that's for the title too. And
I had other shit.
And it gets you the ship as well that you need for like the badge or whatever. And the ship's pretty cool. Yeah, it looks like a little like Star Wars like
it's pretty tight
speeder thing.
Yeah,
it's cool. And then I've gotten I got a little travelers, which is tied to the Kvastov exotic quest, which like they like intentionally like very hid that which was like an interesting choice for like Kvastov specifically. I don't know if that was like a callback to D1 or something, why it's like so hidden, getting the exotic version of that. But I don't know. But it's
in Rise of Iron, there was an exotic version of Kvastov that I never did that quest, but apparently it's a little similar.
Gotcha. Okay,
cool.
Gotcha. That's what I was kind of thinking, because it's like they have it listed as like unknown and not like visible in any part of the game. So I was just like, okay, that's interesting that they did that. Like, is that like even though they marketed it and showed it in all their marketing material of like, it's in the game, you can get it.
It was one of the first ones they showed off.
But like, yeah, they just like hid it for every reason in the game. I was like, okay,
that's fine. You know.
Yeah, it's fine. I was just curious, about why they did that. But yeah, the thing's bugged unfortunately right now, but that'll be available soon enough. I'm close.
Oh no, I have to do fucking the other mountain of fucking shit that I still have to do in the Pale Heart.
Still a lot of plenty of stuff to do.
What did y'all think of the Strike?
Strike is very cool. I like it a lot.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it is really cool. It is very different than I think almost every Strike in the game, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, like the little hallway rooms you have to run through with lava and stuff is cool.
Yeah, introducing lava into this game is just kind of diabolical. Actually,
it's kind of diabolical, and I actually like the There's not like a ton of combat in it. There's just like that one. There's like the one really big survive like city area, which I think is just really cool because it's
beautiful.
It's like a big it's like there's not a lot of strikes with like big open spaces like that are like used to that full capacity that one is, where you're like kind of start in the early part of the city, but then you move up into this different part, and like you have like you actually have like a lot of story moment. Maybe I haven't done like the playlist version, so maybe in the playlist version they like alter like how like the story's portrayed.
Actually, I went into the Strike playlist and it was the first Strike that I got.
Oh really?
Okay, and it was like this,
yo,
sick.
Hell yeah!
I didn't notice like. It did not stick out to me how different the narrative stuff was.
Okay, yeah, because I just noticed because there's like and like because I was literally just before we were recording this, I was replaying the campaign of my warlock to start like unlocking all the stuff on my other classes, because I've mainly played hunter so far, and that was like the thing I noticed like playing through that again was just like there's like when you're in that city beat and you complete it, there's like a big moment where you're literally just like sitting there and a bunch of dialogue is going. So I was curious, like, if that still plays through that. Like, not that it's a bad thing, but like, I could see people being like, "Oh, what is this? We're gonna sit here now. No, wait."
I don't think that happens.
Okay, so maybe, yeah. And
I was real tired at this point.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, I was just curious about that, and of course, like, we'll get a Grandmaster version of that eventually later this episode. So I'm super curious the changes.
That's going to be a fucking nightmare. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited to see what they do.
Only
with
9 Grandmasters, you guys.
Only 9. And the other thing I didn't like, which I don't know why they clearly there was like some communication on these things, because if you went and looked at that Bungie.net article about like what's being sunset and not sunset, like they put the Defiant Battlegrounds as being sunset, and then when I first went into the playlist, I got 2 Defiant Battlegrounds in a fucking row.
They heard you talking shit, Mike.
Fuck?
They heard you talking shit.
That's only on Mike's game.
It's just mine. They just
I haven't done it, so
to be fair, I think they did minorly adjust them, because I did the Cosmodrome one, so I haven't done all of them. But like I'm pretty sure that I remembered like specifically like doing that one. They took out like one of the combat moments where like you're like, it's like when you're like traversing over those like long walkways, like when you're like in this like in the floating like bridge like city street kind of areas in the Taken realm, and you like drop down to like open up a portal and you have to like fight a bunch of shit on those. They like just like remove the enemies from those, so you can just like drop down and go into the portal and like don't have to fight as much stuff.
Nice.
I will say there were just champions in it, which that did not feel right. I don't know if that's like what they're just gonna have now, but it was like a normal strike. Yes, it was just a normal strike playlist, and like freaking I think it was like an overload champion, and like once or twice like showed up, and then
scrubs,
and then like the in the meatball boss like fight, there's just like the unstopped champions just gonna still show up, and it's just like, hey, what's up, we're here, and it's like, oh well, okay, we're just gonna fight these guys, I guess. I don't know if that was intentional or maybe something's wonky.
They've done
there
like a lot of little things to make it harder in weird ways, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was intentional, like the -5 with raids and dungeons and searches. I'm just now thinking like, man, that's going to make soloing any dungeon way fucking worse, isn't it, huh?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure do.
But yeah, I like the strike. Yeah, the strike's fun. I'm curious about the GMs, and like we know from the I don't know if either of you noticed this, because now we know about the episode stuff, and we know like we'll talk. We can get more into that later if we want to, depending on what time we're at. But like one of those strikes is going to be updated at some point throughout that. It's going to be Exodus Crash, specifically like straight up. If you go to the Nessus map and try to select Exodus Crash, it straight up has like a red like you can't access this now. And like it has like a little story like thing of just like something weird's going on here. Come back later. Like you're like great. So it seems like it is like it'll be like an Echoes like narrative reason why we're going. Into Exodus Crash.
I'm super on board with them kind of tying that into like the overall narrative. That's
exactly. They're gonna add a extra 15-minute meatball boss to it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, it'll be great. They're gonna replace the part where you have to like gather the like things of light at the start on your Sparrow. It's actually you have to escort somebody else's Sparrow, slowly making their way to each one of them.
You're gonna have to slowly follow.
I already had to do that, so
you just fall. You just do that. You're slowly gonna escort this fallen thing, and there's a brig's gonna like 3 brigs are just gonna show up at some point, and you're just like
drops on you in the light beam.
It's over. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I do like because that's what they did with like the like what is it the like Shadows and Arms Dealer. They like
Arms Dealer,
updated those in that similar way. I will say they Insight Terminus is I thought that maybe was getting updated too, but that one's like selectable and you can just run it, so I don't think that's maybe getting updated.
Yeah, that was also part of
Spire is going to be the other one updated.
Insight Terminus was one of the, I think that was part of the Lost Ghost quests, I think.
And it was just
yes. And you find out that it's like a clone of the person. That's also that was a PlayStation exclusive strike. I just like to remind people of that.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah,
it is no longer as.
I forgot that happened.
Where was that Lake of Shadows? Was Lake of Shadows exclusive one?
It was not Inverted Spire. Excuse me. Insight Terminus for sure.
Yeah.
I get those two confused all the time, so it's fine.
Yeah, I think like
interesting. I'm happy they don't do that anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to look that up because I think. There's like a few.
There were 2. I don't remember what the other one was.
I think it was Lake of Shadows, Destiny 2. No, of course.
Search PlayStation exclusive strike.
Yeah, I was looking for like exclusive strikes. Destiny 2. I guess I gotta do PlayStation. Probably right.
What if those start coming back? The Sony money's flowing in. Oh, wow. Broodhold was the other one.
Yeah, in Forsaken.
Oh yeah,
in Forsaken.
Everybody's
strike for any
they strike that everybody
real quick.
Yeah.
You know the strike that everybody remembers.
Okay, so let's see. This article from Eurogamer from 2018, Destiny 2's PS4 exclusive content. PlayStation 4's Lake of Shadow Strike, City Apex ship, Borealis weapon, exclusive armor. So what does it say? Lake of Shadows, non-PlayStation, so Xbox. Oh, okay, so yeah, this like I think when Forsaken came out, it was on Lake of Shadows went to public. Everything. I think that went. That's his Lake of Shadows Strike. The player strike called. It shows we don't know much
the
yet.
Retribution PvP map. Yeah,
Jesus
people
Christ.
People really liked that.
Yeah. So that was like I think early Destiny 2. Yeah. That's weird exclusive stuff like that. Shout out to Activision, baby.
Hey, do you know what we haven't talked about is Prismatic?
Yeah.
And how much fun it is.
Yeah, it's really cool. I was definitely just like I immediately like through the campaign and just playing Hunter. I was like, I don't know about this on Hunter. I definitely feel the like squishiness, and I don't feel like some of the stuff on Hunter out the gate was like as potent as some of the things on Warlock or Titan. But I think once you get towards the end and
once you start unlocking,
have like a full kit, then it's like, okay, yeah,
Hunter is like, far and away the best class. Yeah. Actually, it turns out,
it gets really good deep in, and like, I know there's like that like dodge roll kind of like that like Liar's Handshake kind of build going around that seems like pretty decent.
It's what was it? Fucking one of our guys was using that pretty much the entirety of our day one. And I think he was doing an encounter 2, which I'm sure we'll get into the raid in a little bit, but in encounter 2, I think he was doing like 150k damage to an ogre once he got rolling just by punching it.
Just rolling
like, that
and
shit
punching up to it.
Fucking
that's
cooks
actually
shit.
Yeah, that's good to know, because that's something I was like trying to like. That's been like, I knew that build existed, but like I'm always the one that like I like to try and find the shit that works for me, and like before it's just immediately like, let me just do the YouTuber build number 800 blah blah blah.
Let me tell you
like,
about.
Most of the time they are good. Like, I'm not like besmirching like the builds they make. It's just like I like build crafting, so like I like to just. Like,
let me tell you about
shit.
This little build that everybody is calling AFK Warlock.
Yeah,
I'm calling it the buddy build.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is pretty. You're playing.
They're both. That's great.
You're playing AFK Arena over here with your Warlock.
Way better than it should be.
It's bonkers.
Yeah.
And then I saw some people being like, okay, well, like, what if I do that with like no time to explain also? And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
And so like people, I think, are gonna start using that in PvP.
Yeah, I think.
And I'm so sorry to all of you PvP enjoyers,
disgusting.
because you're just gonna turn a corner and the game is going to kill you, not the player.
Yeah,
my buddies.
Which could be AFK Arena'd into oblivion. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a really, really, really good time just fucking tinkering with that shit though.
Yeah.
Like I built like, I don't want to say like build. I mean, they're builds, but like I went through pretty much all of the campaign with cold snap grenades, Bleak Watcher, and I had Osmiomancy gloves on. And then I don't remember what else. I think I was doing the either the Strand Melee or I might have been doing the Void or the Incinerator Snap, but
yeah, the Strand Melee you don't get until after the campaign.
That's right. Man, it's just so much fun to just like tinker around with, and it like makes me rethink pretty much every single encounter in the game in a way that like the regular subclasses haven't. But also it feels like there are like different options enough to where like for both of the boss encounters of the raid, I was fucking just running solar. Like I was just running solar because like Well is just that good, or Song of Flame is just that good, right?
Yeah.
But like you don't have access to Well on Prismatic, so like if I wanted to use that, I needed to like build into like that stuff. But it was like a really fun and interesting way of like kind of engaging with that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that like stuck out to me, and I have some problems with Prismatic, and I do think that the stuff that they give you out the gate is less fun than the stuff that you get after the campaign.
Yes, definitely.
And some of the stuff to get it, like I don't have everything yet, is like a little bit of a pain in the ass to get.
I agree.
But and I'll talk about my problems later, but like I do think like I like the loop that it's like I have to be kind of cognizant of my damage output, of the kind of damage output that I'm doing. And it makes you like engage with the gameplay loop different because you're trying to build toward transcendence all the time. And there are fragments that'll help you do that, but it's also like, well, there are way more potent fragments that just make my mid game way stronger. So I kind of don't want those. So instead, I'm taking on the challenge of like I need to be doing more darkness damage, or I need to be doing more light damage. And it does like make it really interesting what weapons you want to take with you, and the fact that like you can swap the super, which swaps all your harmonic mods. That's like really cool and allows for stuff like flexing into surges to feel like way more comfortable. Like when we were doing the raid and that first encounter, it's Void Surge, because we did not do contest mode, Mike and I. So when we got to it, the surges were back in, and it's like, well, I was running SMG, a solar one. It's like I should be using a void one because it's just going to be a little bit better at clearing up. So it's like, okay, I'll switch to Nova Bomb, and I don't really have to tinker with my armor mods. And that's like really nice.
Yeah,
it's really fucking nice.
It's made me engage with hunting weapons also in a way that I kind of haven't in a while. Like it's making me think about like it's making me be like very selective of like, okay, well, I want something that's like kind of short range. So like, you know, maybe I'll throw in like an SMG or something. But like, if it's void, then I'm gonna have too much light energy coming through. If my super is also already a light, and like that stuff's just gonna be a little bit tricky. So like, maybe I reconfigure. And so I'm like trying to find and engage with like drops and rolls of weapons in ways that I haven't in a while, because I'm trying to find like, okay, I need stuff to fill, like I need different options that all specifically fulfill a role, as opposed to a like, okay, well, the stasis, no, the strand fusion rifle from Season of the Wish is just gonna stay glued in my kinetic slot, and I'm just gonna go brain off and just kill whatever's in front of me. It's like making me actually like engage with what I'm putting where, and I think that's really smart and interesting.
Yeah, that's like always like this is like a hot take, but like I definitely feel that too, of like being more cognizant of like the like what energies I have, or if like I know I'm building into this like already, then yeah, using one of those mods that it's like, hey, you do light stuff, and like that like helps build your dark meter as well. I do like some of that stuff. I think like the one fear I have, and granted this is again like coming before we have these class items, which I'm really hoping are going to open up like the different build potential that we have. I really think they will. Yeah. But like yeah, I'm already just seeing like specifically we have with like Warlock and the Hunter, where it's like people have these two builds that are like been set, and people are like really locked in on these, and like I'm hoping people like figure out some more stuff, or maybe I can like finagle something, because like I'm not really doing that Hunter like Rolly Liar's Handshake build.
Yeah.
But what I've been doing is Stylish Executioner and Gunpowder Gamble, and then I have Strand Grapple and the two Stasis melees.
Sure.
And that basically just I have like with basically having like 3 melees between all of those abilities. I'm just I can just like constantly have Gunpowder Gamble up to like, you know, use that when I need to like clear ads, or like, you know, just throw it onto a boss's face and do a big chunk of damage. And then I do usually the stasis super for getting frost armor to get like some kind of damage buff. And then I also do what I also added in there was doing there's one thing that gives you when you use a void weapon, I think it's like you pick up an orb or you pick up something, and when you have a void weapon, it gives that volatile rounds or grenade. Yeah, exactly. Grenade
unraveling.
Exactly. So I'm basically just like grappling into dudes and just punching them. That gives me a Gunpowder Gamble, and then I also then get volatile rounds and unraveling rounds on the guns I'm using. And because I need to be switching between light and dark anyway, that like helps me with transcendence and stuff. So like that's been fun for me, but like I don't really have like, I guess I could do Shurtarachnes with that and get the woven mail. Like
woven mail, yeah.
Like that's also why I'm probably waiting for those class items, because I know I can get a Shurtarachne on that. So like figuring out a pairing for that kind of stuff will be fun.
The most fun I had kind of like messing around and just like kind of theory crafting a build has, I think, been the one that I have been talking about for a while, which is like Lightning Surge with the Strand melee that you get 3 charges of, but then throwing on Necrotic Grips. It works as well as you think it does, and that's fucking awesome. And because I'm like doing so much like light damage, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna like primarily, maybe I'm just gonna make my like main engagement weapon be, you know, like a strand or a stasis weapon. Like I think that new strand SMG will be great for it, because I'm not really like using the actual strand melee, but like it's fucking cool. It's really fun being able to just like zip into an area, take out an entire wave of dudes, and then be amplified, get that speed boost, and then run into another one, zip into it, take them all out, and then the ones that are still alive die in like 3 seconds, you know? It looks really fun.
It looks super fun. I saw something I want to try is I saw people messing around with the updated Chain Lightning melee, and apparently like
I haven't messed with that yet.
Apparently there's, I don't know like how the build is set up, but I saw people just doing it where like there's a way to set it up on Prismatic where you can just instantaneously spam that all the time. So it's literally just a clip of a person just going, and they're just like they're basically just constantly doing it like through this battlefield, and it's just chaining lightning through all these waves of enemies. It looks cool. Yeah. It looked cool. Like I wasn't sure exactly. It was something to do with like Prismatic and stuff, but I did not remember where it was. And like there's definitely some cool melee like fragments on Prismatic of like, oh yeah, there's the one where like you like melee and get health regeneration like immediately, and like some other stuff like that. So
fucking the facet of command, it's like one that like if you deal or like freeze or like slow an enemy, it just reloads your fucking guns. That's insane.
Yeah.
It was so insane that they disabled it for contest mode.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it is I am so impressed with it, and like the amount of it feels like the natural evolution of what they were setting up to do with the 3.0 reworks.
Yep.
And I think it's really, really engaging, and it's really fun to just like, all right, today I am going to try and just make this exotic work and just see what you can do. And I think that's really fun.
Yeah. I'm just hopeful that like more like, I guess for lack of a better term, like builds are like much more viable in those end game spaces.
Yeah.
Prop up rather than just like, oh, I'm just gonna have to be this liar's handshake rolly hunter, or like this AFK warlock with 4 buddies.
It is kind of nice to
like those
see.
Are cool.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to like see Getaway Artist get some love, because it is like it's never been a bad exotic, but there's always just been better choices if you're running Arc on Warlock. Sure. And it's just really neat to like, this feels almost like the niche it was made for, you know?
Yeah. The like problems I have with it, and it's like early problems. It's kind of what you're talking about, Mike, of like on Warlock, there's no reason to not run Arcane Needle, right? Like
totally
stuff like that.
Right.
Like I'm never gonna run Storm Trance on Prismatic. There's no reason to.
Yeah.
There's just no
I have
reason
just gone back and forth between Arcane Needle's the super, right? Yeah.
That's the
melee.
Needle Storm is the super, Arcane Needle's the melee.
Okay. Yeah. No, I just do either that one or the Incinerator Snap sometimes, and that's about it.
Yeah. And I like that, and it can cause an ignition relatively easily, but it's like the chain lightning thing, I'm curious about this, like getting it frequently, and it jolts now like more consistently. Yeah. But it's like the Void one, it is stronger, I will say. It's better.
Yeah, it's better a little bit too.
On this setup, like if the cooldown on Arcane Needle is harder, sure, but like I get 3 charges of it, right? Like there's too much competition in some places. And the same with Aspects. I know Titan has like a little bit of this problem right now of like some of the combinations just don't feel as potent, but like I don't ever see myself running Weaver's Call ever on Prismatic. I tried it in many different things of like I'll do the Phoenix dive into Hellion into getting the Threadlands, and it's like this is just not as fun as the AFK build, my buddy build, right? Like
right.
There's like just some friction internal within the subclass with that stuff, and maybe there's a way to make it all work, or maybe it's just like whatever, it doesn't matter, just do your preference. But
I think my hope is that like, you know, with this Echoes stuff and like, you know, how and we've had with previous the subclasses is, I don't know if they're gonna full on give us like more fragment or aspects and supers, but maybe they can do fragments that make these things like more viable, because it definitely feels like for like something with Hunter is like in that same sense, like I I'm never gonna run the Strand super on Prismatic pretty much ever. Or the and like there's Deadfall, which can be useful and like some for like general content, but I'd still rather run that on like a void class, like a void subclass, because it would be way more useful in there, and I'd have a lot of other options to like pair that with, because like, you know, like the things for like the big thing with like Hunter is just like it loses a lot of the like, I think like things that have become more standard and trying to survive in end game content stuff that helps it, where like, you know, like they can't really get like restoration and some other stuff unless they are like more building more into that. So it's like I have to use Golden Gun to get restoration, or my options are like meleeing dudes, and like, you have like the solar and strand melees, which that works well enough, but then you're like fully reliant on having any kind of survivabilities all through your melee, and like, so you have to be kind of in the faces of stuff. So like that can be a little bit tricky, is like finding that balance of like, all right, what can I do to like kind of keep my survivability up. And that was definitely something I struggled finding early on with Hunter, because of like the option, like the more limited options you had with Prismatic, like out the gate. Now it's not as bad, but it definitely, you definitely can still feel it in some cases where it's just like, man, it'd be nice to just have healing nade crutch was felt. Like, man, yeah, I really did rely on this for a lot of stuff on just like any class really, and it's like now just to like not have that simple access. It definitely felt for some of those other classes now. But
they delivered on the idea of the jack of all trades, master of none subclass.
Yes, for sure.
And I think that's good. That like I still want to run solar. Like I have my speakers, Helm.
Totally
healing build that's like extremely good. Also, you guys, it's very fucking
good. We used it in contest
too.
Mode. One of our guys ran it, and it was actually a game changer.
I used it during a damage phase for the first boss in the raid, and we did not have and we didn't fucking need it.
Yeah, it was great.
It's like pretty fucking crazy how good it is with that healing auto rifle, which is everything I wanted it to be.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's so much better than I thought it was going to be.
Nerf
awesome.
it, and I'm already upset about it.
yeah, it's really cool, and like, yeah, like a lot of that stuff worked, and like I would still also say that like seeing people use well in day one, and like we're still fine. Like they still were able to like do the things they need to do with a well, but like, yeah, to your point though about like, there's still, even though I enjoy Prismatic, it's like I really want to make like a new Void Titan build with all the new Void stuff. I've not used it a lot yet, but I want to do that. The same with like the new Warlock stuff. Like I want to make like like either like a Healy support build or some kind of like
boom build,
or exactly like some kind of Hellion Song of Flame kind of adjacent thing. I definitely want to like do that stuff with that. And like Arc Hunter, I'm back and forth on, because I do like Ascension. Ascension is pretty fun, and can be used in use some cool ways, and like that's fun. It definitely feels like I think it was tricky on, again, like in those earlier bits of Prismatic and still not being like fully comfortable with it. I get that, but I definitely can see its use case in like certain stuff, and I think I will try and make like an updated Arc Hunter. But I will say again, I'm mostly talking about Hunter because I've like the class I played the most. But like I think out of the new supers, the Storm's Edge one is the weakest. But I think that's predominantly
that's predominantly
in PvE. That's what I was gonna say. Predominantly because it seems like it is very much more a PvP like focused like super. Because I've seen like clips in PvP where like apparently like you can throw a knife at like a Titan in a bubble, and it'll just go through the bubble. Like it won't like hit, you won't like the knife like won't hit the bubble. Won't hit the bubble, and you're like outside it. Like you'll just go into it and you'll do the spin, and it fucking kills him in the bubble. Like it's like it just instantly kills him. So like that seems like where they want that super to like shine. But on the other end, like I still would hope they maybe like do like a little bit of a buff in PvE. And I can tell you, like you can see it firsthand, like my minor disappointment if you go watch our stream and we get the supers for the first time in that moment, and I'm like watching you be like, oh my god, look at these flying like fireballs going around, and like Ren's throwing like an axe, like his axe is into a big ogre that spawns, and he throws like two and they're dead, and I'm just like, oh yeah, let's go, and I throw a knife at an orange bar knight. And it one single throw at it and spin didn't kill it, and I was just like, bro, I just like kind of went silent. I was just like, I didn't want to be like immediately be like, come on, man, are you for real with this?
That's so funny.
It can be good with Star Eaters, though. I did see like you can buff it up pretty well.
Okay, fair enough. But like,
which again, like that plays into the Prismatic stuff and the class item.
Yeah, totally. Like, and that I'm hoping that expands it all. But that is another one where it's just like, man, I will pretty much never use that on Prismatic more than likely, because you have a fucking golden gun or like the stasis super, which like the updates they made to that make it feel it's like really good now. Like it's
really
it moves like it moves fast, and like it feels much more useful than it was before. And then obviously you have Deadfall 2, which is also a very useful super in general for like playing like kind of supporting debuffing
general, and
making orbs and stuff. So like why would I ever use these other two, like the Strand and the Arc one? Like there's no real good reason to use those whatsoever on the class right now, as it were. So
the Stasis one and the Arc one on Warlock are also like in a struggle spot. So
yeah, for sure.
See.
So definitely we'll have to play around with that more. And again, like I said up front, like I really think those exotic those class items are gonna add a lot and be like they're
really interested to see how that stuff goes.
I'm really curious to start getting those and seeing what people can do with them. It should be this week that you'll be recording, so by the time this probably comes up, we'll probably be starting to be able to get those finally. We don't know how exactly, but we'll see how that goes.
I feel like it's gonna be overthrow related, but it could be a new activity. We'll see.
Yeah.
So I think that the way that the wording on it was like they will be farmable in an activity that will become available shortly after World's First, which makes me think it's Excision.
Excision, sure.
That'd be cool.
Which I could totally see.
That'd be neat.
Which we haven't talked about at all.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that. That's what I was gonna get you next. Is like the raid,
maybe do the raid
and
then
Excision.
that.
Yeah, that's what
I want to talk about this raid really bad.
Yes.
You're the one that's finished it. So.
Yeah,
you're
the one that's
really fucking good, y'all.
I even though we only did an encounter and a half, I really enjoyed the encounter and a half we did as well.
Yeah.
I really like the intensity of it. It's pretty tough, but I think that's totally okay for all kinds of reasons, in terms of like the narrative reason of like this is like the ultimate battle against like our biggest threat.
Yes.
Like they are right when they said like this needs to be a difficult and like challenging moment, and like I get it's like there's like a lot of narrative beats to that, but that's why we have the 12 player thing, which is like the thing people can just jump in and be like kind of have their like let's just it is the big Marvel bombastic moment of like everybody's here and we're all fighting and things are going crazy and whatever like no like like raids are supposed to be like the end game activity of Destiny, and like they should be. They're like I think we can have raids like Ron in Deepstone as like these introductory raids for people to like learn and better understand mechanics, but we should definitely still have raids like Garden and like this one now that are like difficult and like people need to like learn mechanics and work together and like be like have this reason to be like challenged in this game. That's why I like GMs, like Grandmasters doing Grandmasters every season. Like they definitely become a similar thing where it's like, all right, I've done strike X or Y a bunch of times at this point, so like I have like a cadence to these, but when we get new ones and it's like a new challenge and it's like a new thing that like tests all of this stuff I've been grinding for and like op builds I've been making and doing this or that, like I think like raids are the other extension of that, and they need that. And I think it's like that's why I think it's like awesome that we have this raid that is like pretty brutal, and you like need to.
It's pretty brutal.
Everybody
it's pretty brutal on normal.
Yeah, you need to like learn and understand and grasp like what needs to be done, because I think like even though it's brutal and like it can take time. Once we even experienced in that first encounter alone was just like once we got a flow down, like it was like one of the most satisfying. I felt like I felt more satisfied completing that than like I feel like I ever was
all
taking
Ron.
ever taking like Nezarec on, or and even like some parts of like freaking like Crota, or like taking on even some parts of like Vow and stuff, where like I think like Val's big moment was obviously Rolk, and that was super cool, like having those kind of synergistic moments. But like this was like
this was Last Wish Briven encounter is what it felt like.
Yeah, this is like
two teams of three, and we are working right now.
Yes.
We are working.
Yeah. And that's like most of this raid. It's like most of the encounters are like that.
So
it's great.
do I need to not spoil anything about this for y'all. Do y'all know everything?
Yeah, you can just
Great.
go for it.
I think that a lot of that does come down to the fact that for the first 3 encounters specifically, which again, if you don't want to know anything about the raid, fucking turn this off.
Yeah.
The like plate circuit mechanic requires you to be locked in with another person in a way that I don't think another raid has ever asked of us. And I think that it is something that a lot of people take a lot of time to get used to, especially with the amount of ads that they fucking throw at you. Not just the amount of the ads, but like
what the ads are doing to you.
Weavers and attendants are diabolical.
Yeah.
For
the
that
stasis
specifically.
Shit is fucking
the stasis stuff. If like being a plate person,
in Encounter 2 specifically,
Encounter 2, it's like extra bad. Definitely love to seeing. Definitely like excited about the strats we've been learning now as like the days have progressed and people have been like seeing some more optimal ways to do it and being like, okay, that sounds a lot more doable than what we were dealing with. But even like like the stasis ones were bad, but like in that first encounter, like some of those like the strand guys were even like tough there, where it's
the
like
Weavers are insane,
where it's like straight up like you're doing the back and forth. And I had multiple times where I'm like, I go like, okay, do it, and then I just see a strand thing fucking come out of nowhere and yank me as I'm going to like try and do the thing, and I'm just like, oh fuck, and then that completely ruins your thing.
The subjugators, anytime they ever pop up at all, it is wild how much attention that they require immediately, or they are like a run ending problem. Like it is, like I really underestimated the subjugators whenever they announced them, because I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna fucking hate the husks. I'm gonna hate the Grims so much. They're gonna be awful. Those are fucking baby shit. Oh my god.
I mean, we should talk about the Dread just as a whole as well.
Totally. Yeah. I like them a lot. I think that they are really, really interesting and engaging to fight. And I think that us getting used to Tormentors has kind of prepared us for that stuff in a little bit more than I thought I would. But it's still like having to fight a Tormentor while you're surrounded by Weavers, terrifying shit.
It's awful.
Oh my
That's
god.
Scary as shit, dude.
Yeah.
I like the threatening nature of all of the enemies, right? Like I have done the overthrow activity where you have to like jump up some platforms and like just mid jump just getting suppressed by the fucking Grim, and I'm like, well, I knew this would happen someday, and then just falling and dying and be like, well, this is what I deserve, I guess. But just like the dynamic nature that they add to the battlefield stasis, like Duskfield grenades, the yank of the Weavers is
fucked up. While we were like on a run for Encounter 5 last night, which fucking you all like no spoilers. While we were fighting the Witness last night, there's a lot of Weavers in that fight, and it like requires you to be like. You have to essentially like, you know, the hands that pop out from the first 3 encounters that basically just like shoot different like shit at you. You have to like grab those like a certain one of those buffs and stand in a different one and then shoot like the wrist bracelets off or whatever. I got pulled by a Weaver into another Weaver's pull and it just threw me off the fucking cliff.
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck. I mean, absolutely. Like fucking do it. Totally.
Yeah.
But like on top of all of that, like I think that I think like a good amount of the difficulty, like you kind of mentioned, does come down to the fact that like for the first time kind of in a while, the enemies are crowd controlling us.
Yeah.
And that's something that we are still getting very used to.
Yeah.
Like it got to a point where our people who were like primarily on ad clear, we had to put like Weavers and attendants at a higher kill priority than boss tier enemies.
Yeah.
Because we just were not able to complete the objectives otherwise. But like, man, I really, really like you two got to the second encounter. The visuals in that fucking fight, like just like everything around you, each of the three like areas, like the art team, they had already like blown everybody away with just the Pale Heart to begin with, but like all of the stuff in Salvation's Edge is like some of the most upsetting and beautiful shit I have ever seen, and it makes you feel so fucking small in a way that like not even Riven could do, which I thought was wild.
Yeah, for sure.
I like just the fact that you have to like step on a plate after it lights up, and then it like goes across this fucking silly straw ass like circuit thing that essentially another person gets, and then they have like not even a 2 or 3 second window to step on it, otherwise it breaks and you have to start over, which takes like 20 seconds of your time, which I don't know how far you all got in the second fight, but I think they give you like 4 at least damage phases to do that, because we got to a 4th damage phase in contest mode, and it didn't give us like an enrage timer or anything. It's just that there is just a timer going at all times, and you have to like dunk debuffs and shit in a way that is like very stressful, and it requires everybody to be locked in a way that's really fun.
Yeah.
Like the third encounter is, I think, the weakest maybe, because it's like kind of a like halfway to the like third encounter from Vow. But like one half of the people who are doing the mechanic are, I don't want to say like they have to be like too locked in and are doing like 12 different things, but like there is a little bit of an imbalance where it's like, I was one of the people that was just kind of, my job was making sure that I kept bouncing the mechanic, and I didn't really have a whole lot else to do otherwise. But
sure,
let me tell you about how incredible that fucking 4th encounter is.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Honestly,
it is. It might be my favorite raid encounter.
Yeah, you know it's a banger raid when it's like they teach you like you have like multiple encounters in a row where they like build on this mechanic, and it's like to master it, and then they just go to another encounter and it's a completely different thing. You have to like
the last 2 encounters don't fucking use the plates at all.
And it's just like, oh shit, we're in the real shit, because like that's what like Riven
and
like
shapes, motherfucker.
Yeah, like Riven and all
they
kinds
drop
of
you in a
raids,
room
they
that
just-
is
they just go, and you're
completely
just like-
bright white, looks nothing like anything else in the fucking raid, and then I just like look and I saw, oh shit, that's all of us as like fucking projections as statues. Oh fuck, they incorporated fashion into a raid mechanic. And that's the tightest shit I've ever heard.
Technology wise, like I don't even know how they pulled that.
And like we finally got that shit down, and like we straight up had to be to the point where a couple of times I'm like, hey, just one of my guys in my group, I'm like, hey man, I need you to put a different hat on, because
please,
you're wearing a cowboy hat on a Titan and you're wearing it on a Hunter, and I cannot tell the difference from far away, and it's 3 a.m.
Yeah, it's like, please, Hunters, wear like anything besides super black and 3 shaders. I saw a big brain strat from somebody posted a streamer posted, I think that's who it was, at least somebody on Twitter, some person. They put one of those Halloween masks on. So they just,
I
actually had a Halloween mask
did.
and like that was like an idea of just like everyone just put the Halloween masks on during that encounter.
Festival of the Lost for that fight is going to be fucking incredible, actually.
Really funny.
But like it's just kind of like diabolical how going back to, I'm just getting ahead of myself. I fucking love this encounter. I just get really excited to talk about it, and I haven't had an outlet to do that yet. So here I am. The fact that like we got through it and we finally were like, okay, cool, we've got everybody's fucking things figured out, and then like 6 fucking hours of like attempts and shit later, we're just like, oh fuck, we have to know what each other's ghost shells are. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like that's so diabolical. And then like how like I was just like on the like quote inside team for the puzzle, and we were like trying to figure some shit out. We accidentally got to we just call it like the ghost phase, where the people inside die, but they don't actually die.
Yeah, it's like a fake death.
And you have to like do call outs by looking at alive people's like gameplay from your like kill screen. That's so fucking cool.
It's crazy. That's like
that is
insane. Yeah.
Like I said that, and I found like I'm like I can only see one of these people. Like there's probably like it on my stream somewhere where I just like have a moment and I just like scream like that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know if like I watched Data's video of his like team completing it, and they like screen shared all of their screens on Discord so they could all see each other.
Totally. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That we are here now. It's like, yes, this is where
what we did. What we ended up doing
Yeah.
was everybody had distinct outfits and distinct ghost shells, and we just like took a screenshot of all of our names next to them in a fucking Google Doc and just posted a screenshot in our Discord.
Yeah.
But like solving that puzzle, because like I'm really like I don't fucking fault anybody who needs to use a guide for that shit, because it is a very like complicated and convoluted puzzle. I think that I will forever just be like, I don't like to like toot my own horn a lot. I'm going to be so fucking impressed forever that my team was able to just solve that by figuring it out. That's so fucking cool. That puzzle is insane.
Yeah.
I think it is like,
it's very cool.
It is like diabolical to put that as encounter 4 in a raid this hard.
Yeah.
And then you have the final boss fight.
Yeah,
It's great that we got a vault effectively.
I know.
Like a vault encounter again.
And it's like kind of
6 years later.
And it's like kind of like crazier than that original vault encounter, which was already pretty crazy.
Yes.
Totally. I don't have to think about penumbral auras or whatever.
Yeah.
But
totally.
Like, now I have to like know what my friends look like in game.
That's insane. Like
that's like
it's fucking crazy.
I can't
LFGing that is going to be a nightmare.
I can't even imagine how miserable that would be doing an LFG team. Like that's going to be people being like, all right, you have to wear this specific thing during this encounter, or like put your certain on. Maybe people will figure out some strat to like maybe nullify a little bit of that, but I can't imagine you can really.
Distinct headpieces seem to be the move, but
or like just something that like makes you step apart. Like I think ran that encounter with like 2 and 2 of the classes, and so like I have like my current like warlock outfit is I think it's the Season of Plunder one that has like the sword on your back and like the like open like collared trench coat, and then the other warlock just wore the robes from Brood of Nightmares. So it's like, okay, he's got 3 arms, so that's not cam, right?
Yeah.
And so like just finding ways to do that was like really fun. But yeah, man, it was just what a fucking encounter. It like the puzzle is like so well designed and interesting. They like play with people's like expectations in a way that is cool, because like forever people have always been like, they will never kill you as part of a raid mechanic because flawless exists. And now that is not the case. And that is so fucking crazy that they like took that swing. And like, if you're going to take it,
they could figure that out technology wise, you know?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. Like being able to like, this was the raid to take giant swings, and they fucking did. They knocked the shit out of the park.
It's super cool.
I think that encounter 4 is like the highlight. The witness final boss is like really cool. I think the damage phase on it specifically, where you're like doing damage, it's a little bit. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's some Final Fantasy 14 ass shit.
It is.
Like,
yes, it is.
Yeah, and it's like, I thought a way that was like that was really cool.
In a way that's very different than Rolk, which is also very Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah,
in a different
Rolk
way,
feels like a little bit more like Dark Souls, and this feels more like a 14 raid to me a little bit.
Totally.
But yeah, like what I ended up doing, like we didn't get to that. Like we tapped out on contest mode in Encounter 4. at like 3 a.m. We still didn't have it figured out, but we're like, somebody was like trying to explain this like high level concept, and I'm like, my brother in Christ, it is 3:30 in the morning. I cannot do this anymore.
I mean, that you got that far is very impressive, right? Like, this was one of those ones where it's like not a lot of people finish on contest mode.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it was like 100. It was like 100 some teams. So, I think is what they said. It was like
so I pulled up raid report for it. There were 675 clears according to raid report. 2 of them got done at 1 day, 23 hours and 59 minutes.
Oof.
Which man.
Yeah.
But like no one team cleared this in 24 hours is fucking crazy.
Yeah. The first clear was that, and then that was just the
it
one
was
team.
Like 19 hours in.
Yeah. And it's like once that was figured out, I think that's why like the clears like kind of spiked, because people went like, because even like I was like watching data stream for the majority of that. Once that team got the clear, even they were like, what were they doing? And they just like all went to
absolutely.
I heard. I mean, some of the people on Data's team were pretty salty about it for sure, because they were like, it's just like 6 fucking kids using golden guns and 1 warlock. This is like, oh god,
that's what a lot of people fucking did.
That's what a lot of people
did.
But
like when we're talking about like min maxing to just get a clear. That's still very crazy, you know.
Yeah, that seemed like that's what they went for, and they fucking did it.
The feeling around it though, just like the excitement around the race and everything was so like wonderful, like so exciting. Like Mike and I were like also very sleepy that Friday night, and it's like we're going to bed and no one's even gotten to the final
I know, like
yet, right? What the fuck is happening?
From like just talking amongst like my group and a couple of other like friends of ours and other groups that were running, the like collective dread that we all felt whenever
see what you did there.
There you go. The collective just like dread of what we were fucking settling in for after nobody had cleared it after 9 hours. We're just like, oh no.
Many people were still stuck on the second encounter after 9 hours.
Yeah, at that point.
So I actually did take notes of like how many times we attempted certain encounters. And let me pull it up because I think I posted it on Twitter. But we cleared encounter 2 after on attempt number 110. The rest of them, like encounter 1 took us 57, and I think part of that was just getting used to contest mode again. Encounter 3, which I think was the easiest one, was 36 attempts. 4 took us 38, but also a lot of 4 was standing around talking and theory crafting, so there wasn't as many like pulls to get like mechanics.
Right.
And then only 27 of those were in contest mode, which contest mode on 4 I think was nothing to sneeze at, because
the
unstoppables spawn very suddenly and will 100 to 0 you in a second. It's crazy. But yeah, man, I just like, it was such like an incredible experience. Like, I think that I was very happy about how far we got, like sincerely. Like once we got to that second fight, I think all of us were just like, we are not clearing this. And then once we did, and we like essentially got twice as far, was like fucking awesome. The way we did encounter 2 was a little unorthodox, I think. So we had it's one of those things that like I always appreciate my raid team, because we always try to do something a little like, I don't want to say stupid, but maybe weird
out there.
Yeah. Like for day 1 Vault of Glass reprisal, one of the people on my team is perfect pitch. And so eventually
I remember this.
He memorized the pitches of the Oracle spawning in. So he just stood in the back and listened. And so we knew what order they spawned in that way, which is not the ideal way to do it, but it makes for a great story. The only reason that we survived to get our stuff done is because every time that people got called into combat in the center against the boss in encounter 2, he also went and just strongholds tanked the boss for the entire duration.
Oh my god.
That's cool.
That's
and so
awesome,
like
though.
he was like with me on my side. We had, I think, the easier side of the three, which
front.
is not the like one that you like rally at, but the one to the right of that if you're like facing the boss.
Sure.
And so
that
like
that left side, the opposite side of that.
The left side is
that's
brutal.
That's
Yeah,
a fucking brutal
Brutal.
side.
It's like a freaking tower. No thanks. Like that's,
Yeah.
that sucks.
No, it was just great. I had a really good time. The music fucking bangs because of course it does.
Of course it does.
Yeah. I don't care what anybody says that it's taken Tanix. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
It is. No, it super is. We're just like, whenever we
Tanix.
started that fight, we're like, this fucking guy again. Jesus Christ.
It's taken.
But,
Back,
taken
but he's
Tanix.
spooky now.
Yeah, if you
Tanix
get the
taken.
chance to run it, you should. It's great.
Yeah.
I really like it. I think it is. I think it's still too early to tell IMO if it's one of the best, if it is the best raid they've made, but it is like at least top 2. We'll see if it like kind of withstands the test of time of Last Wish. I think
it's like the first. It's like the as weird and masochistic as it sounds. Like it's like the first time I've ever been like, you know what? Maybe I will want to get the title for this raid, and that's like rarely happened for me.
And I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to get it because that master clear is going to be brutal.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. But like, I kind of want to do it for this one, and like, at most it's always been just like, yeah, like the ghost is cool, and let me get this, and like, there. To be fair, I did want to maybe get mastered the Vogue title just because I did like that one a lot, but.
Yeah,
cool it's just I think the time passed by so much from that thing. It's just like hard to be like, hey, who wants to relive this?
Who wants to run Vault of Glass 7 times?
7 times and do it on Master. That's a fun time, right? Come on. It's fuck no.
We ended up after we got through a couple of damage phases on the Witness, I am not surprised it took people 12 plus hours to beat the Witness. Because like if you are even an inch out of line or out of position on that like damage phase, you just get melted completely. And like on non-contest mode, I was just like, hey, let me try a well, and I did, and I still almost died, but like the healing was enough to kind of keep me up. It's just that like it was so tough, but like I ended up fucking throwing on Heat Rises, and since it was Void Surge, it was Lev Breath season, baby. But yeah, we ended up having 2 people on our team run the new exotic trace rifle and had the most damage in the squad.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah, I was curious about that.
So that's pretty cool.
I was curious about how that thing would perform because it seems like it'd be cool.
It's great. I don't like that they only give you like 30 seconds after the fight's over. To like, because like that's why we didn't really get a picture of like our crew or anything, because it's like, all right, you raid okay, cool, like go and like get your red border or whatever, but like the way they do that here is different, because like now when you kill the Witness, he drops a key and there's a flag to just load straight into Excision from there, which is really smart and cool.
Which is cool.
And if you beat Excision with that key in your inventory, you get a raid red border.
Which is also very cool.
It's awesome. It's great.
Yeah, to see like
also,
there's not like a weird like puzzle in the raid that we know of.
I don't think so.
There is.
Okay,
there is?
cool. Then there
Okay.
is.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's fine.
It's fine. Yeah.
No, we kind of expected that to be the case.
Yeah, I figured
this one's real fucking crazy. I will say.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Sure. So,
but
I like that there's 2 then. That's cool because like the key and the red border chest in the raid. That's cool.
I love
like
that you can load right into Excision. I think that's so smart.
Yeah, I like that. I like that now there is a memento for clearing it without a hard wipe or just clearing it on master. I think that's awesome, and they should have been doing that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yep. Glad they're doing it now.
Yeah, same. Absolutely. I'm happy it's there. And fuck, I had one other thing. Also, shout out to the sword from that raid is Waveframe.
Yeah.
And it's also named Summum Bonum, baby.
That's awesome.
And I didn't fucking get one.
Wow.
I got
trash.
every other weapon.
Except
I got no armor and I didn't fucking get summum bonum. This is horse shit.
Shit raid. That's actually the worst raid, turns out.
Yeah.
Garbage.
But the
I got a chess piece. That's all I got for 100.
Yeah. The bow can roll volt shot, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
so
that seems like that bow is going to be pretty good.
But yeah,
Archer's tempo, volt shot. I saw somebody with a roll like that. I was like, damn, okay, that thing's good.
Yeah,
that thing's gonna cook.
Pretty cool.
That's gonna cook.
So very excited about that. I want to see what the full amount of rolls on the SMG are, because the one that I got rolled with what we have been referring to as power crept frenzy.
Yeah, I saw that perk,
which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
Actually called it's chaos reshape.
Chaos reshape.
Yes, it's great. On a lightweight, that thing cooks. Yeah, and also, what if frenzy fucking healed you? That's crazy.
It's pretty
periodically.
Yeah, if you put that on in the right raid encounter, it's going to be up the entire time. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, and I don't know how much either of you looked at the exotic either. That thing also looks pretty nuts.
Cool.
I've extensively looked at it for some warlock related reasons.
Yeah, I saw a damage clip of a strand warlock with that thing, and it's cooking a dungeon boss.
It's doing more damage than a lot of heavy weapons, is what I'll say.
Yeah. Seems pretty good. But, and apparently it can get more perks or something too. There's a way to get like additional perks on it.
Yeah.
Because like there's like a triumph that also says like it ups the chance for it to have additional perks. Like it's straight up like there's like a triumph that you have to complete.
Yeah. I think it's like if you, I don't know, it's something about like the patterns for the weapons. I think
you have to get the patterns for the raid, and then once you get that, then that gives that thing extra.
It's kind of cool.
Like an additional perk or something it can get. So that does seem pretty interesting. So I think
most of my team is running it right now, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to run it?" And I'm like, I can't. Like, not just because I have this recording, but because I don't know if I could do that again right now. Like, give me a couple of days.
Yeah, give me a day or two. Yeah, I'm having the struggle bit with like my clan currently, where they're like, it's like my clan's always been like a mix of like people who are like pretty like who are really into Destiny and like to like do some of that stuff. But then there's like the other end of people who are just like much more like casual, or they're like I'm a dad, I have kids, and I don't want to blah 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 blah. It's like I get it.
These 12 children,
and so like they complain about like the most minor amount of like grinding or things to do in this game or they're just like red borders. What is this? I should just be given this thing instantaneously. How dare you make me work for things? And it's just like, whatever, man.
It's 5 rolls, y'all. It's not that bad.
It's really is not that. So I kind of, it's a little frustrating. It's getting more and more frustrating these days with some of the people, but
we've got
what it is.
We're working.
We have a squad,
Excision though.
Excision is fucking cool.
The first 12 player activity pops up on screen. Excuse me.
Yeah.
12 players? How the fuck is this gonna work? And then like it was like my first go at it was
it kind of falls apart a little bit. It was a
little janky, but like just like everything in that moment was like still like really fucking cool. You're just like
perfect for me.
Yeah, it was
not to brag here.
It was absolutely incredible. If you haven't done Excision and for some reason you're still listening to this,
stop.
And you I mean, but also, if you're okay with waiting,
comment, Streamglaive, like the video, subscribe, then go play it.
Yes.
I cannot recommend enough clearing the raid and going right into it, because holy shit, it's just such a magical experience.
Yeah. It seemed like it. I watched you do it.
It was so good.
I was crying while you were doing it.
Yeah, it was like just me and my crew that we had literally just spent 3 days just fucking like throwing ourselves at this and working incredibly hard, and like just all of the catharsis just lifting at once. It was so fucking good.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's everything you would want the Avengers Endgame moment to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They did it.
Yeah.
They did the damn thing.
Yeah. You get this incredible cutscene of all like the troops rallying in and everybody's there. Hey, actually, Savathun's there, but there was one person who wasn't there. It was Shah Han did not make it.
That's fine. That's fine. He's kind of a shitty fire team member anyway. So whatever.
He couldn't take on a single Witcher or whatever the fuck. So whatever. But yeah, I saw somebody point that out, and I went like double checked. It's like, is he just like awkwardly? Because I will say, like, Hawthorne is in that cutscene, which is pretty great.
Yeah, she is
pretty funny.
Yeah, she is, motherfucker.
She's in there, and then like there's like a bunch, pretty much
Shout
every other character,
the Drifter,
like
just ready to fuck shit
just
up. He's got that look on his face, like he is ready to go. Shout out to Aerith.
He's got his girlfriend with him, you know.
Shout out to Aerith showing up with the sword she killed Savathun with.
Yeah,
like yes,
it's great. It's
My
really
queen.
good.
Yeah,
it was really good. Yeah, just like everyone pretty much showed up, and you see Zavala being like cool as fuck, and like apparently somehow learning stasis within 40 minutes or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, he's
in
the
between
best
this thing
that
and
the
like,
world has ever known.
Yeah,
of course he did.
Yeah, so he was in there. He was ready to go, and then
he had Ikora help him take him through the Beyond Light campaign. Really.
First question I asked my fire team.
Stasis is free now, so you know it's easier to get.
That's true.
Free to play.
First question I asked my fire team while we were running through that is like, how many kills do you think you fucking got with that slam? Like, because there was a lot of fucking bunched up dudes right there.
20 or 30 with the shatter damage,
right? Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just that's so cool.
Yeah, so it's like I hope he was able to use pre-nerf stasis like some of these fucking asshole enemies can use on us. But that mission is just like the whole nature of you load in and you just hear everybody going, and then you just all of a sudden just see a wave of guardians just like running the fuck around, and literally,
and then like all of your allies are there. The music is like just fucking soaring, like
falling
around.
I'm sobbing the
shooting like
time.
Sure, honestly, like for that first half of the bit, like I frankly just couldn't even tell what we were actually doing, but it was just too cool. So like whatever. Like I'm sure we will run it again. I will run it again at some point. And I have better grasp of it. Like once you get the second bit, and obviously you're like having that like kind of witness showdown, and that part's just like fucking cool because it's just like here's just like here's Saint in a bubble the whole time, just like here's this, and then like you're getting like synaptic spears and torch cannons and all this stuff is showing up, and it's just like fucking
during the second part of the witness fight there, where the light is like overflowing and your super is just charging constantly. Both of our Titans and my fire team were just throwing Twilight Garrison axes just
everywhere
out constantly. So everybody, like all 12 of us, were just ripping shit apart.
Yeah.
It was just so fucking satisfying.
It's like. You talk about like a fan servicey type finale, and some people I know are down on that, but like the campaign is so great. Obviously the raid is this brutal thing. Like when this mission dropped like 8:50 in the morning on Saturday, and like the raid just cleared. I woke up, like I went to bed and I woke up and it just cleared, and like you get that radio call in that cutscene as you're coming in of like Zavala's like a team just killed the witness. I'm like, that did just happen.
Just
I cannot tell you the electricity that this mission creates.
It's insane.
Who's been playing this game for thousands of hours. I know all of you felt this too. Both of you did, and so many out there did. Just like it was incredible.
Yeah,
incredible.
So cool. And then like you have like these like final kind of and then you like complete it. Witness goes down.
You kill the shit out of that dude.
You kill the shit out of him.
Get the golden tricorn in your super meter as you channel the Traveler's Light.
You literally do millions of damage.
Yep. With 12 other guardians there, like literally just shooting a light beam through your ghost. Really cool. Like just like fucking full anime moment that's just like fun and just fuck yeah, let's do this. Yeah, it was great. And then you have like kind of this like the really good scenes, like cut scenes that just like follow that are like some of like the best kind of like
poignant
emotional
stuff with Cade, like stuff literally with Cade, just being like the end cap of the thesis statement of this entire past 10 years. Like that's so good.
No one makes my favorite me.
No one makes my favorite you. And then like playing off of that stuff, and like he says the line again, you were always my favorite, don't forget that. And like he said that before, and like other parts,
not
like
me sobbing into my controller at that point.
And it's really, really good. And then of course I
fucking like Crow's hot now apparently.
Crow got a man bun, and now he's just like hot as fuck. Like Like it's really funny just to like see him in the earlier bits in that campaign, and like you go watch him in like the Inkblot scenes, and like he's still just kind of looks like emo Crow, but then they put him in this, and he just like gets like a fucking Chad, and like Giga Chad like bros, he's putting the thing up, and you're just like, okay, sure, I guess that's how that fucking works. I guess he's just put a man bun on him, and he just becomes like fucking Chad Crow. Great.
It's also just rad narratively because like he now like is physically like representative as he is Crow. He is not just Crow running from the fact that he was Uldren Sov.
The Hunter Vanguard, which I guess we didn't talk about Wildcard much, but that was like a big thing in the Wildcard exotic mission. It's awesome. It's awesome. Like you have to pretty much you have to play that to like get to this stuff anyway. I'm pretty sure like
you do.
That's like a really awesome mission, and that is kind of it is the literal
fucking torch.
That's been like the thing everybody's been talking about for years.
I've been banging this drum, y'all.
Of like it's gonna happen like at some point, and like to have it be in this moment with obviously they brought Cade back, and they had
their time with it, you know. Like I've wanted this forever, but like here we are, you know, 3 years later since like Season of the Hunt, and it's like yes. This feels great. This feels so
it felt every like major plot point in this felt earned in a way that I really appreciated. And like, yes, on paper, the fucking final Excision mission is fan servicey, but like they get to do that because of all of the work they have done up to this point.
Totally.
It was so good.
It's like a big payoff moment that like works.
And
that,
it
like,
should be great. It should just be euphoric that you're feeling it when you're doing it.
Yeah. And boy howdy, will that music make you fucking feel that.
Yeah, the music, music pops off in that mission.
Of all the years,
I have not listened to it on YouTube since I have like ran that mission because I will just probably start just uncontrollably crying.
Yeah. It's awesome, and like it will be really cool if they do somehow make that like the thing you play over to get like the class items or whatever it ends up being. That's
I'd happily run that again. No fucking problem. I don't care how like
it's like perfect.
Turns out 12 guardians do a lot of fucking damage.
Yeah, so. Doesn't matter. I don't care how many wyverns they spawn. We will kill them.
Yeah, we will kill them.
They just spawn waves of boss enemies at you, and they are nothing.
It just makes you feel like crazy powerful in these moments. Really, really good. And then like, you know, you kind of get these like the final little like scene with like all like the new van, or I guess newish Vanguard, and you set off the lanterns in there, which is like a cool moment too, because I want to say that was like a thing in like Destiny. There's like art from like vanilla Destiny 2 of like children like putting lanterns up in that moment to like celebrate. I think that might even be Destiny 1 even, like when there was like a moment in that where like lanterns were set off for something, but I just remember
sometimes at night when the Traveler was still above the city, you could just see a bunch of lanterns going up to it in the tower. But that was like a really good moment, because like all the them and they're just kind of talking about like, well, whatever the future brings, blah 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 blah, and then you know you get like a little like Inkblot montage of kind of showing like the characters kind of where they're at, and
the
then
JRPG credits scene, which is like
great. Just seeing like
Keitel knitting with Saladin.
So good.
Thank you.
So good.
The Vanguard like out on patrol together, and these like couple shots was really good, and then like Eris and Drifter, and I think it was like Amaru, I guess.
Amaru was there too,
hanging out together, and it's just like, cool.
I love that Eris has to babysit that little piece of shit all the time. That's so great to me.
Yeah, and then of course we got the teases of here, which we learned more, which I think we get the echoes pretty soon here, but like, we got the tease of like kind of what's next with these echoes, and all that stuff seems pretty interesting. With it seems like we're gonna be going to a very Vex focused thing. With this first thing, I'm really stoked for that. Then we had like this shot of it was Fickrell and Spider.
Like watching something that was Aramis.
It was Aramis and Fickrell. So I kind of took that as like these are like two opposing sides. Like it is
maybe
Fickrell and Spider. Like because like at least what from we now learned from this journey ahead like thing. I think that at least that's like what I got. And then this last bit, which I think also kind of gets elaborated on in the Echoes video, was seeing Xivu Arath picking up Oryx's sword
Yep.
That's what I think that shot was. And I think that will get into more like with the thing they revealed in that Echoes video. But yeah, that was like a cool thing. And then we got like the really incredible shot, which I'm with people who are already asking, like, please let us go back to this scene somehow where it is like our guardian, like
just hanging out,
like on probably like just like on like the outside
on
the
helm, yeah,
and just like the big traveler with like this new weird like
the aurora of it.
around it that's been created because now the witness is gone, and like you get a thing from Crow talking about it of like, yeah, these things are erupting from the traveler. And, you know, we do these weird anomalies and we don't know what they're exactly meaning, and like what we're going to figure them out and follow them. And people are like talking about there's a no fly zone around the traveler because it's literally emitting like darkness and light energy all around it.
Prismatic energy. Yeah.
So that could be bad. And it's like directly above Earth. That can't be bad. I don't know. Maybe. So
yes, we'll find out.
So like, yeah, I like how they set that all stuff up. Cause like, now we were back in like gonna be back in like almost like a mystery mode with Destiny, which is always some stuff I liked a lot, right? Where it's like,
yeah,
we don't know what's coming, and like, you know, we're gonna have to just kind of be along for the ride and see where it goes. But yeah, again, just to like cap off the stuff, like, you know, we said again, like, you know, this was like built up to this 10-year thing, and I think a lot of people were afraid of like this being able to hit that mark and really like capstone this 10-year period, and I think they did it. Like I'm like supremely so for myself, I'm like pretty satisfied. I think we all are here. Like I think it was one of the best
on the characters,
the expansions they've done, like across the board. Like everything here was like phenomenal, and makes me incredibly excited for like this stuff that is coming up next. Do I expect everything to be the high bar that this hits? Probably not. Like no, I think that's like no way they can always be this high with these episodes, but like it all looks very good, and I'm excited to see like this, like hopeful that a lot of this stuff is going to be shaking up what we kind of come to expect as we get like into episodes and how they deliver content and story in this game.
Same. Agreed.
Cool. Great.
Mike, I have to go. I'm so sorry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I am gonna mess up your video, and I'm very sorry. But you guys can do the outro without me. I have a hard out that I didn't think that we would get to, but here we are.
Okay, no worries. I guess we can wrap here then and talk about Echo stuff.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
And the next episode,
we can talk about Echoes next week. Yeah,
because we'll be in it, so we can talk about it. But yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it then, because we talked about Final Shape, had a great time. Thanks, everybody. As always, we'll be back soon with Warhammer Tower podcast here on YouTube or on podcast services. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Sorry, everyone. Bye.
It's okay.
Yeah, I have to go like right now, so I'm so sorry.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
I'm about to.
All right, bye.
Bye.
My mouse is dead. Why?